Students out of my program got 14 consultation calls, which turned into 8 clients. And she even had so much kind of work that she gave 2 referrals to other students inside of her mentorship program. So just diving into this thing, if you're watching me live, go ahead and write down hashtag team live because I'll make the video a little bit more interactive. Like the more people I have on, and the more I'll ask questions, I'll answer questions, I'll open up the room for interpretation. And if you're watching this thing on the replay, write down hashtag team replay. I'll actually send you a bonus training as a result of saying thank you because I know it's in some cases hard to kind of make the time that we do these. So the fact that you're watching the replay, it's like, hey, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come and do this. Now, why am I asking for you to comment? Okay, it's because I'm trying to get this video to be shown to as many people inside of our group as possible. Right now, the way Facebook works is that the more likes, comments, shares that a post gets, the more that it shares out to people. And I'm not charging you for this information that I'm giving you on these lives. So one way you can encourage me to keep doing these free trainings is by helping support it by liking, commenting, and sharing. Okay. Also, if you want some help growing your business, but maybe either you're thinking about getting started and there's just so much in front of you that's stopping you from being able to do it, or you've been trying to grow your business for any amount of time, but it's just not quite growing at the amount or the speed with which you'd like, go ahead and click on the link inside the description, either above or below the video, to book a call with myself to see if I can help you inside of our training program. So, number one, okay, every year that this student has been inside of our program, the number of consultation calls that she gets in January goes up and up and up. So last year, in the first week of January, she got 7 calls booked. This year, she got 14 calls booked. Out of those 14 calls, 8 of them signed up to become clients. And then 2 of them weren't really an industry that she wanted to deal with. So she actually gave them to 2 of our other students out of the program. Now, the reason why it's so significant is because a lot of times what happens for most people is that if you're doing a strategy or a system that doesn't work, it's very easy to get discouraged and not really, do it consistently. When you have something that works, there's 2 things that happen. So generally, what happens when you're trying to figure out a system? So let's say in this example, it's like a system for how to get leads. You have to know a couple principles. Number one is who are you actually trying to go after? So most people just try and accept as many clients as they can. They don't really have any thought process about who are they actually speaking to, right? Because someone that's a business owner that's doing 100K per year is going to need an entirely different conversation or style or even approach than someone that's making $1 million a year or $5 million per year. But a lot of people, they don't think about that. So they just really speak to people in general. But how most people speak generally is attractive to people who are more on the smaller end. So when you actually get those leads coming to you, they tend to be very, very, very small. Okay. So first things first, in order for you to start speaking and having your literature, your website, your marketing, your LinkedIn profile, your conversations be attractive to someone that's actually making significant money, you need to understand what do they actually speak about, what do they like, what are the biggest things or concerns they have. So a couple ways you can do this by going through either past clients or you can interview people that have really, really large businesses. Now, inside of our program, we give you what to say specifically, so you don't really have to guesstimate. We tell you how to really understand who is the right type of business owner for yourself. But if you're going from scratch, that's the fastest way. If you have no one helping you out, then yeah, interviewing people, maybe reading the bigger people's websites, going and looking social groups like Facebook groups for the industry you're going after, and looking for what are the problems they're already talking about, and seeing who are the people that actually have the money, who are the people that actually want to spend the money, and be able to really kind of start making your word tracks and your phrases relevant to those types of people. Now, assuming you have that right, next thing is about really can we get the right number of leads? So most people, what happens is they have 150 people that follow their Facebook business page. But out of those 150 people, 130 of them are their friends and family, right? So they maybe only have 20 business owners on their actual business. And out of those 20 business owners, only one of them has a business that's over $500,000 per year. That means you only have one opportunity to actually get someone who wants to work with you and who can actually afford to pay you a high ticket price point. So the first thing you need to do is you need to be able to go and expand the number of people that are following you that have a business that is both willing and able to afford the price points that you're looking for. So one way, there's a couple different ways you can grow it, right? Number one, you can go and friend people on LinkedIn. Number two, You can make posts on LinkedIn or even on Facebook groups to get people to actually follow your page or friend request you, whatever. Whether you're using if you're using a personal profile, it's gonna be friend request. If it's a business profile, it's gonna be like a follow or like a like, right? So that's number one. That's two different ways you can do it. Number three way you can do is by going and doing like advertising. Number four way is you can actually email business owners. Fifth way is you can go and like do like Upwork. Sixth way is you can do like Craigslist. For me, I personally like doing out of those six methodologies, I like using three. I like either friend requesting people on LinkedIn if you don't really have a lot of money, or writing constantly as people to raise their hands. And the third way is advertisements. Now, that's at the stage of the game I'm at. Okay. If you're just getting started, I'd probably recommend sending friend requests on LinkedIn. And again, it does really depend on who are you speaking to, right? Because if you're just speaking to every single person, it's going to be really, really hard for you to send connection requests, right? Because you just send like a million of them in order to get the right person. But if you know how to really sift through a lot of data and understand like who is the person that you're speaking with, you can look at the right profile, see the words that they're using, seeing the frames they're using, research their company to see like do they actually have someone on staff who owns or who is the same position as you. So they have on their like website, they have an accountant, they have a financial department. You're probably not going to be able to go and get like a really good client out of them as easily, right? But when you know how to like look inside of someone's business, understand like who are the people that are going to actually want to work with you, then you can start building your list around that. Okay. Another way you can do it is by doing cold emailing. Now, cold emailing is it's an art inside of itself. The way I like to think about cold emailing is that you're sending emails to relevant business owners, but getting them to go and follow you on like LinkedIn or Facebook, right? So now the people that come to your profiles and actually send you a connection request are people that are actually interested in learning more about either yourself or the service you offer. So it's like you actually have like inbound leads coming, and it makes it where you don't have to send out like a million like LinkedIn connection requests. Another way that you can go and grow your LinkedIn network is by having an automation tool. So like there's like stuff like a platform called Duck Soup. There's another one called like Linked Helper. There's a million different like types of software like that that can help you go and sift through all the different like people that are relevant on site on like LinkedIn, and just let you kind of grow the profile like really quickly over time. This student in general has four different LinkedIn automation tools being utilized to go and grow her reach and grow her audience. So every single quarter, she can grow her business by a certain amount. So okay, let's say that it takes us having 100 new business owners in order to get, we'll say like four clients. Okay, so now let's say that this quarter we want to get eight clients. That means we just have to have 200 of the right business owners being connected with using our automation tool in order to get eight clients for this month. And then we can control the size of the client based on like some other metrics and some other factors. So it just makes it a lot more mathematically simple to be able to grow the business. So whenever she wants to grow faster or get more, then she just turns on the machine. We know our numbers, we run the math, and it grows to the level that she wants to go. Next year, she'll probably try and get 21 consultation calls in January, right? So it's like once you have a system in place, number one, it makes things very, very easy for you to maintain on a consistent basis. It makes things more predictable. When you have predictability and you can be consistent with something, you can grow it to the degree you want. Now, it might take a little bit longer than what you maybe hope. And if you're like really trying to like grow fast, like of course we can like give you something else, right? We can show you how to use like advertising to speed up the process even faster than that. But for me, anywhere between like 0 to about like 15K per month, you're generally looking to have more consistency and predictability. It's not always just about speed, right? Because generally you have to like have your business grow to a point to where you don't break it. When I say break it, it means like you can only take on a certain amount of clients at one time if it's just you working there. So if you've taken like 10 new clients and then you have to onboard every single one of them, you have to get all the engagement letters signed, you have to go do the onboarding calls. If you don't have a good onboarding process, which if you need an onboarding process, we can definitely talk about like how to structure yours and like how we structure ours for our accounting firm. But assuming that you have that in place, right? You might need to get 10 clients at one time, and then you get the 10 clients, but now you need to start like hiring like a subcontractor to do the work for you. So then you can keep expanding. But it's just like if you're always focused on like, I gotta get to 20K a month tomorrow, it really puts you in a lot of like risk and a lot of danger because you could grow really quickly and it could cause you to really stall out your business. So it's like it's better to grow very consistently and very smoothly over time so you can keep handling more and more pressure. It's like lifting weights, right? So when you first go to the gym, generally your body's untrained. So for you to like try and do like, let's say that you're gonna do like an arm curl, you're just picking up a weight, right? Most people are not going to be able to curl 100-pound weight on their first try. Maybe they start off with like 10, right? It's like build up. And then after a couple weeks, maybe they try like a 15. After a couple months, maybe they do like a 20, then a 25, then a 30, then a 40. But if someone just tries to the 100 on like day number one, they're probably going to tear their bicep off the bone, and they're not going to be able to actually like use that arm for like 6 months to a year until they like recover and recuperate from the injury. So instead, slow and steady but consistent progress is the thing that it takes to actually reach your business goals. And once you have that consistency in place, then business becomes a lot more fun because rather than like having to worry about like, is the marketing working? Am I going to have to, am I ever going to be able to leave my job? Right? A lot of people, what happens is if if they knew the thing that they were working with and they had that full confidence that what they were doing was showing signs of results, it would give you a lot more of an easier like kind of path to leaving your job than like if you just try and like randomly leave your job but you have no like path and no strategy, right? That's why it's always like I always teach people like think strategic and don't just think about getting your first client. Think about really like building a system that when you get your first client, your second, your third, your fourth, and your fifth client are right around the corner, so that when you start really finding what works, it actually works, and you have enough like traction and track record to be able to consistently maintain that level of clientele and consistently maintain that new income. Then maybe you hold it for about like 3 more months at those same either level of clients or the same growth rate, so you know that when you leave your job, you're going to be able to have that consistent flow and have that, security that you're not gonna have to go back to zero and be like kind of like in this panic zone. Okay. That's how I always think about when it comes to like growing the business. Now, another thing to note, business is very, very cyclical, right? It's a lot of different patterns. It's like up, it's down, it's up and down. Now, when I say up and down, does not mean that your business growth has to be up and down. It means that the interest in the market is generally up and down. So, for example, beginning of the year, you're gonna have a lot more of a spike of people who like maybe their CPA is telling them to go get a cleanup because they don't want to like have to clean up the books like in the last minute when someone's wanted their tax return, right? And there's other times where like maybe the summer, maybe the winter, right? And maybe there's cleanup seasons. Like there's a lot of different seasons that are kind of at play. And if you miss the season and you wait too long, it's going to cause you to wait another, 3 months, 6 months, even a year in some cases for you to be able to make that same level of traction. So a lot of times what happens is people kind of like procrastinate. They're like, well, I want to start my business, but I don't know if now is the right time. But oftentimes what happens is most accountants and bookkeepers, if you're working inside the field, the time that you need to be pushing your business is also in a lot of cases the time where you're the most busy at work. So by the time that you're like, well, I just want to kind of wait till, work slows down for me to get started, it's like that's going to be in a downward peak and you're going to have a lot more trouble like really capitalizing on momentum. And it's not that it's impossible to do. And one I'll talk about in a second, like how you can make that the ups and downs more linear for yourself. But first things first, like you gotta understand, like if you wait too long, you miss out on the opportunity to be able to go do it and to be able to actually go reach your goals faster, right? Because that's what I see a lot of people do. Like just like wait, I'm waiting for the right time. It's not the right time now. Like once I get this, then I'll be able to start. Or once I do this, then I'll be able to start. Or if I learn this, then I'll be able to start. It's always like these like things that kind of stop you from being able to go and like actually grow. It's like it's a never ending cycle. Like you can never learn enough stuff for you to be fully prepared for you to start your business. You can never have enough leads before you start your business. You can never have enough like websites or brochures or cool designs on your website to start. You just have to start and then keep improving over time, make small incremental improvements over time. Now, the way that you can make your business more consistent in those ups and downs is two ways. Number one, make sure that you're having monthly clients. Like, don't just get up cleanups. Like, if you get a cleanup, like you generally want to sell the cleanup in accordance to like, are you going to get the monthly work as well, right? Very rarely encourage people to just do a cleanup unless you really need the money. Like, if you don't need the money and you're just trying to build business traction, you want to get as much monthly work as you can. And like, the cleanup is great. It's not the cleanup is the main service, and the bookkeeping is cool. It's the bookkeeping is the main service, is a monthly service. Whether you do monthly accounting, monthly booking, CFO, whatever the case may be, the monthly work is the thing that's going to carry you and like make sure your income is like very consistent. The next thing is make sure that when it's a high point, it's like when you're at the peak, you got to make sure that you're pushing as hard as possible. So that's your prospecting, that's your marketing, that's your relationships, that's your referral partners, because that's when everyone's going to be talking to you and willing to talk to you. Now, when things start to slow down as far as like new interest, you need to be able to go back through your pipeline and be able to get anyone that maybe said no to you in the past or get a consultation call and they didn't buy from you, or they're in your messenger and they didn't move forward. You go back to those people because now it's a little bit easier. So, for example, if you were talking to someone and you sell through a consultation process, and you get to do a consultation call, then send an invoice, you have to go through that process in order for someone to buy. So that could take you anywhere between like a week to 2 weeks for that person to like buy. But if someone's already gone through that, then theoretically, if they feel the need and they want to go and like pull out their credit card or their bank information to pay your invoice, they can get started at the drop of the hat. So all you need to do is focus when things are hot and people are interested, you push as hard as you can. And then when people are not as interested, but you don't really necessarily need to do another consultation call, you're just looking for who is interested and who's maybe changed their mind and maybe who's ready to move forward today. And you can use a lot of like objection handling tactics, or you can do more like logical types closes inside the DMs, and now you get new people buying without necessarily having to do more consultation calls. Because since the interest is up and down, the number of consultation calls inside of the down period, that's the part. So it's like the number of new leads is the thing that slows down. It's not necessarily your income slows down. It's not necessarily your sales slow down. It's just you have to be more resourceful with going back through your pipeline. Now, in order for you to go back through your pipeline, you have to actually have a pipeline, and you actually have to keep notes for your pipeline. So I'm going to assume that you've watched our other videos that talk about like marketing and how to like start building up more leads who are interested in your service. So I'm going to assume you've watched those videos. If not, I would recommend going to our YouTube channel. Well, there's like a link in the description of this, or you might be watching this on our YouTube channel. I would go back through and just like watch the videos about marketing so you can start getting more leads. But when you do your consultation call number 2, you need to make sure that you're actually keeping accurate notes of what happened. Did the person buy? Did the person pose an objection? What were the answers to some of the response? Okay, if they had answers favorably, why did they not buy from you? Okay, if they said they want to buy from you, do they give you a date of when they're ready to get started? Or they just kind of like disappear, right? We need to have notes of every single thing, because then if it's tracked and it's traced, we can improve, right? What gets measured generally gets changed and gets improved. It's just kind of like if you're trying to lose weight, right? It's like I can kind of like guesstimate I'm losing weight and like I'm feeling different and like maybe I'm eating, but if I'm not tracking my food specifically, if I'm not looking at the scale, if I'm not like using like the tape measurements to see kind of like what are my different measurements of my body, how do I actually know if I'm improving? And generally, what happens is if you're not tracking, you're basically saying the exact same, but it feels like you're moving forward. Even though it feels like it, you're not actually moving forward. So you need to make sure everything is tracked. I had a person join my program about a week ago, and she was actually fairly successful. I think she was doing about like between like four to about $6,000 per month in her business, and she was like, "Yeah, I'm trying to get to 10." And it was like, okay, this is gonna be kind of cool. I was like, I don't like to make assumptions usually, but do you have the all the consultation calls you've ever done? Do you have that anywhere? And she goes, no. I was like, wait. You work so hard to get leads. You need to make sure that you keep track of those leads so that you can a lot like 50% of the people that say no to you eventually, if you have the right scripts, if you have the right information, if you educate them properly. So you need to make sure we're tracking that so you don't lose that data. Okay. When you're on the internet and like really when you're doing sales, marketing, and like building a business, everything is about data. You need to know like what months are your peak months, like what months do people show the most interest. Based on that, like how long does it take after you've done a consultation call with someone for when they sign the engagement letter and pay you the first payment or the deposit, whatever you're gonna call it, right? Next thing, we need to make sure, like, okay, so how many consultation calls do I have to do with the same person in order for them to buy? Do I have to like do like an introductory call? Do I have to do like a sales call? Do I have to do like a follow-up call? That's a 3 call close. Or can I just do it all in one call, right? That'll be one. And I have to know like, okay, how many leads does it actually take to get one call? Like you had like this whole game, and I'm not trying to go super granular with you, but this whole game is a data game. The more data you have, you can almost predict the future. I can tell exactly when my best months are for my business based on the past. And I've been in this game since 2015. That's about 9 years, right? And it's just like it gets easier and easier and easier and more predictable every single year because I just know what to expect. And I know when to push. I know when to take a vacation. I know when, like, okay, this month might be a little bit slower. It doesn't have to be slower, but it might be a little bit slower. I can prepare my team for them to know like what to do in order for us to go. And it gets easier and easier and easier. But it's because I've been taking very meticulous data, keeping very meticulous notes, and know exactly like what are the things that are most important to know in my business. Now, if you don't have those, maybe you don't have KPIs. Maybe you don't know. When I say KPI, it means key performance indicator. That means it's like what do you have to like do input wise in order to get like an output, and you can kind of control the output based on your inputs. Now, it's not like a perfect science where it's like, every single year it's going to be the exact same because things do shift a little bit, but trends are very important in business. Okay. As long as we're on the right trends, we're able to grow and we're able to really adapt to our business in the moment. And that's where we get more consistency. So, three ways to get consistency. Number one is by taking advantage of the peaks. And then when you guys are in more of the troughs, you're going back to your old list in order to be able to talk to them. Number two, finding a good strategy that works and you just do it consistently because then you're naturally going to be able to keep growing your business over time. Number three, use data from the past to be able to predict the future. If you can do that, you can also build in consistency inside your business. And then when you have those, reaching, six figures, 10K, 15, 20, 30K is not really about like if it happens, it's more of a matter of when does it happen and like, how much of a struggle does that to be. Now, if you want some help doing this, like maybe you've been seeing these videos, maybe like you've seen my other videos, and you're just like, this is way easier for you and your students than it is for me, then I should invite you to go ahead and check out our program. See if it's like a good fit for you. Like it might not be a good fit for you, but I at least want you to have clarity, right? Because it's like there's no point in like, you're kind of wondering like, hey, could Bryce maybe help me? Maybe I should do this on my own. Maybe I shouldn't. Like, find out like, should you actually get help if you're serious about reaching your goal and like you actually want to do it? Like, I don't necessarily see a reason why you wouldn't potentially like join a program. The reason why I say this is because like, if this is how I explained to like someone who had never bought coaching before. This person at the gym. He's like, what do you mean you sell coaching? I was like, yeah. So basically, what I do is I take 9 years worth of lessons, experiences, and results from other students. I put inside of a package, like a black box, which tells them, hey, what to do, where to go, how to do it, how much to charge, what to say in your consultation calls, and tell you all these different pitfalls you avoid. So you basically can combine 9 years, you pay X amount of dollars, and then not only do you get to skip a lot of those mistakes, now you get to be able to basically buy six figures. So let's say, for example, that you're buying something from the store. If you could go and have like a machine where you basically get like let's say let me say something easy so you guys might understand more tangibly. If someone goes to the store and buys a phone, if they pay $1 and they know this phone is going to get them $100 back every single year for the rest of their life, would they do it? Yes or no? Most people would spend the dollar to go get 100. Okay, it's the same thing with coaching. You basically are buying the ability to expand how much you can actually make inside of your income and inside of your life. Because in a lot of cases, like I was talking to this one guy today, and like he speaks to me every like 6 months to a year. He's a guy from my local area that I knew for a long time. Um, I've never really tried to sell him like coaches, just give him like advice like here and there. And the questions that he asked me are just they're like very, very basic. I was like, bro, after 10 years of like, like trying to start a business stuff, like I would just recommend just go invest like in a course or something, man. Cause like, our on and off phone calls where I maybe give you a piece of advice or, I check in on something here or I do this, like it's not enough. I speak to you like once every 2 months, once every 3 months, so once every 6 months. I don't really hear from you enough to give you like a really good like package of stuff. It's just like, and yeah, so it's just like, most people don't like he was talking about like he was trying to go and like buy this like specific thing with like the results from his business. I'm like, bro, we're not even at the point to where you can buy something. You have to get like your foundations kind of in check before you're even at a spot to where you could get something going. And like the reason why is because even though he's been in business for a while, and even though he has like a business degree and he's been like in finance for a long time, he's doing like a business like a web design kind of business. It's not like an accounting firm, um, but it's like most people don't know what they're actually selling. Most people don't know how to get leads. Most people don't really understand like when you get a lead, there's a difference between a warm lead and a cold lead. Then even within like warm leads and cold leads, there's a degree of warmth, right? And how easy it is for the person to actually work with you. Most people don't know how to actually build authority so that person's willing to pay them more money. Most people don't actually know what they're saying on their consultation calls. They don't know what questions to ask. They don't know how to present their service. They've never done any objection handling. Most people then cannot really onboard a client very correctly. They either don't have the right systems, the right process, the right time frames, right? And it's just like the distance between somebody and their actual goals when they first start the business is like it's immense. It's like climbing Mount Everest, right? They talk about like 9 out of 10 businesses go out of business. Now, it's not that business is dangerous. It's just that the people who try it and they don't have the right skill sets to be able to actually accomplish it, right? So if you look at it, like in terms of business owners, only about 10% of business owners actually invest in coaching. But if you think about it, 9 out of 10 business owners fail. That means only 1 out of 10, like 10% of business owners succeed. But I thought only 10% of business owners invest in coaching. Now, it might not be directly correlated, but it kind of sounds like the people that actually do the coaching are, in a lot of cases, the remaining 10% that are still alive after 1 year, 3 year, and 5 years. Surprise from relation there, you know? And that's why, right? That's the only reason I'm here is because I was able to go and like grow my business because I just invest in coaching, right? So like I was on a call yesterday and I was talking to one of my students in my program, and I basically showed him like the inside of my like advertising campaigns, right? I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on ads to grow my businesses, right? And the guy's like, "Well, where'd you learn how to advertise this?" And how'd you figure out how to advertise like this book funnel? Or how'd you figure out how to advertise like an Instagram account? I was like, well, we know how to advertise the book. That cost me $14,000. I did that course 2 years ago. Learning how to do that ad campaign that cost me $7,800. That other ad campaign, that one cost me about $12,000. That campaign cost me about nine. It's like all these campaigns. It's not like I just like figure this stuff out. I just buy the shortcut and be able to do it. And then as soon as I like, for example, the course I was talking about where I paid like $7,000 to learn how to like grow an Instagram account. That same course literally gave me $100,000 within 12 months of doing that course. So I literally bought $100,000 and it only cost me $7,000 to do so. Right? That's the beauty of like paying for information and paying for like execution and knowledge, right? Because I don't have to guesstimate. Again, just like with the past data, I can use data to be able to build my business forward and faster, right? So if you want some help and like maybe been trying to grow this stuff on your own, but it's just not quite working the way that you think it is, go ahead and click the link inside the description, either above or below the video. Book a call with myself, one member of my team. We'll come sit down with you. We'll see exactly like where are you right now and where do you want to go. We'll see like what's the best path for you to be able to go and grow your business. Like in some cases, it might not even be to work with us, right? Because we're not a good fit for everybody. For the people we are a good fit for, like we are a really good fit. But in some cases there might be like a mismatch in some way, and we'll explain it to you. And if there is a mismatch, we'll point you in the right direction. But if there is a good fit and it's like mutually agreed upon as a good fit, we'll definitely accept you inside of our mentorship program. We'll get you started. We can move forward from there, and we'll take you to your goals. Okay. So that's you. I'll see you on the call. If you're not quite ready, that's okay too. I'll see you inside the next video. Take it easy. Talk to you soon. Have a good one.